Hey, what's going on everyone? This is JoeYoursTruly back for another video, and today we got some really kind of exciting teasers that dropped today on July 28th. So I thought this would be kind of a cool quick video to go over some of these teasers because it's been some really spicy teasers, and it's a very kind of cool Predator report. So for those who do not know, recently they've been trying to do this kind of like monthly report. Last month they did one that was pretty cool, and this month for July they did another one that, and it is very cool, some of the info they kind of drop in here. So I thought it'd be really cool. We can kind of dive into it, and I can kind of give you guys my opinions and just show how excited to hear all this really exciting info. But without further ado, let's kind of jump straight into it. First off is that Kawi actually dropped the name of the lizard. So no more is lizard. His name is gonna be Zarus, and I thought that's kind of cool because it just kind of gives a name to the face. Because like the whole lizard thing is really kind of cool. It kind of gives a little teaser of what to kind of expect from this character. But now we finally got an official name for him, so that's very cool stuff. And I do have to say though that I think this potentially, like, just from the name alone, there's some really kind of cool stuff we can get from that. Because like obviously the first thing I did when I saw Sailors is like, I'm gonna do some Google search to see what kind of matches we get. Because depending on what they want to try to do for the character, the name could have implications on lore and all that, because they did drop some lore right there that I'm going to go into a little bit. But one of the first things you'll see is that he's kind of like a Greek, like Mormon kind of person, or rather like he's like the first human to be to achieve godhood essentially. And if you do click on it, very first thing you see on like both of these kind of sites is you see this very distinct symbol, and that is like a human face, but it's a shield. And I thought that can't be a coincidence, because the whole big thing on Zarus they've been teasing for a while is that he's sort of kind of centered around this whole shield on the world map. They just show like a shield on like the kind of hero kind of profile thing. So I think it's no coincidence they shows his name, because I think they want to try to tie into this kind of like connection to like the Greek and Roman mythology. And I think that's some of the coolest kind of connections you can do, because I'm someone that love God of War, for example, like Kratos, and like love that like mythology kind of aspect. So I thought it's really cool that I think they're all trying to do that push too with this second original hero. They're trying to do some kind of tie in to the Greek and Roman mythology, but they're in their own like Predecessor kind of world. Because I'm trying to go back through, because I'm pretty sure there was one instance where there was some like mention. Sorry, just give me one sec. I have a lot of notes on the screen, but essentially, like, this is the line: he achieved godhood. And when you think of achieved godhood, you think of ascension. And I think that's another reason why they did this name on purpose, because the whole theme of the season is the road to ascension. And so you have a name by the name of Zarus for this new lizard guy, that he happens to have connection to this mythology figure with a shield. And then you have another connection to the fact that he achieved godhood. He ascended to godhood. So I don't know. I think this is too much of a coincidence to be like. I think this is intentional, and if it is, I'm very excited, because it'll be very cool that if we have this character that has a lot of Roman and Greek tie-ins. I think that'd just be very exciting to see, 100%. And so like just kind of going through this, he's known that as, so the kind of low drop they did give to him is he's known as the champion of near melee booster with the agility to chase down his foes, and the power to make sure he couldn't. So we didn't got any like confirmation on what his ability does. All we got are his ability icons. And I mean, we can definitely speculate all day we want on exactly what kind of abilities he could have. But I can kind of see like this profile icon right here at the very least. It looks like a spear or a trident. And another reason why I kind of think so too is because the big thing in like films and like but like when you go look up like Lizard Fighter, for example, like some of the first things you see are like Lizard Fighter. Listen, this is not one. I had something else pulled up. Sorry, I'm being very sloppy today, guys. But essentially, like some of the stuff you see with Lizard Men, Lizard Fighters, they tend to have like spear weapons. Sometimes you see them with like shields, you see like sometimes swords or like other weapons, right? But for some reason in like media and like anime, like this is like this is from Recon as a slide for those who don't know that I'm actually a big fan of it. You kind of see some of the merchandise in the background, but and like in kind of like the entertainment industry, whenever you see lizard men, lizard people kind of represented, you most of the time see them with some kind of long weapon like a trident, a spear. Sometimes you see like short swords. Obviously, it really depends on how you want to like interpret them, right? But it's kind of a common theme for lizard men to be known to wield like the long pole arm weapons because they tend to be agility kind of based characters. And see, they say right here he has that agility. So lizard men are fast people, and the better weapons to complement fast people are the longer weapons like pole arm, spears, tridents, etc. And so like based on this description and based on like this one ability icon, I think it's safe to say that I think his weapon may be a spear. This is just my prediction, my speculation. At the end of the day, this is just kind of like my evidence in digging around, right? But I mean, but this whole like big thing on using the shield thing, it makes sense to use a polearm because even in like Greek and Roman mythology, you see a lot of the Roman soldiers, they use the big shield and they use a big spear to go along with it, right? So if they're really going for this whole like Greek mythology kind of approach to Zarus, and based on like just kind of like the cultural entertainment, like how you got all these like lizard men running around with spears kind of represented in the media culture, I think it's safe to say that he's probably walking around with a spear. Other than that, I'm not too sure about the other two icons. It sort of looks like a tail, like you know the lizard tails. I don't know what this means. This one looks like a pillar, and that kind of looks like the kind of pillar kind of style. Like here, I can show you. Like if I look up woman pillars, for example, right, and see right here, you kind of have these very distinct designs, right, and then like that kind of looks like that, right, but I don't know what that means. It's because he's a Coliseum fighter. Or rather, like, she's a champion of Near. When you think of a champion of Near, you think of Colosseum battles, and Roman Greek mythology are known to have those huge Colosseums, gladiators just going at it, right? And so I just kind of like, I think there's another tie into that. I don't know what this means. Is that like, I don't know, like, he's gonna create a bunch of pillars or whatever, but I think there's just so much like connection. Like, you look at Zarus, like, I'm kind of realizing like too, like some of the stuff I'm just looking on the fly, there's a lot of connection to Roman Greek mythology. At least that's what I think, because like everything I'm looking up and like predicting and like all that stuff seems to tie in. But anyways, that's just me kind of geeking out a little bit on some of the implications. So even though this is a very kind of surface level teaser, I think there's a lot of digging you guys can do and kind of come to your own conclusions on what to think of him. But yeah, I'm very, very excited because it's been like kind of confirmed that he's like an offlaner. Wabi said it himself. Oh, I don't know, I think it was Blood Moy that actually said that he was an offlaner way back when. So I'm very, very excited to have this bruiser kind of character to main, because I'm offlane main at the end of the day, and I love to have new toys to play with essentially. But moving on from Zarus, that's a lot of info we actually cover right there. This one I actually did cover on this matchmaking blog post. For those who do not know, there's been like a blog post that's really going to super in depth on the blog post. I'll probably leave a link in the description. If you want to get a breakdown, there's some really cool info right there. So very, very exciting stuff right there. But the big other piece of the news is that we got some UI hype teasers, because essentially to talk a little bit about, this is kind of like the very early concept of the new UI, and here we go. This is looking kind of very clean, if I do say so myself. There's a lot of very, very cool stuff. I wonder if I can, this is much better. But essentially, this is kind of like the UI approach to do it. They said that it's not like a 100% done, or rather this may not even look like the final product. They say it's closer to the finished product. This is kind of like a mock-up, right? So this means that everything you see right here is not technically finalized, but the whole idea and approach seems to be very close to what they want. And I mean, there's some really, really cool stuff you can kind of see right here, because this definitely looks very clean. We have a kind of good like UI, like the one we've been working on live, but this is just taking it on to a whole new level. Right here, I can see like the party members. It seems like your friends list right here. Of course, you see all your heroes right here. And one thing to note is that for those who are wondering what this means, like the 1 divided by 2 to 2 divided by 5, I think that's in reference to the contract system, because a while back, Wabi leaked that the new way for you guys, because if you bought the early access bundle, you pretty much get the heroes for free, right? So there's no like in-game progression system to earn heroes necessarily. And so like the big thing they want to do before free-to-play release is they gotta make a system where you can naturally unlock characters. And so what Wabi leaked a while ago on the podcast is that the way you unlock heroes in Predecessor is going to be through a contract system. And that's what sounds familiar to some of you guys, because that's what Valorant does, is pretty much how you unlock agents in Valorant is through contracts. And essentially how that works is you activate a contract. So you choose like Jet, for example, and then once you activate Jet's contract, you must play games, complete challenges to earn XP to go towards the contract. And once you complete the contract, that is when the agent will be unlocked. And so in a similar fashion, this is what they seem to be doing. That's what Wabi said they're doing. It's very similar to the Valorant contract system, where essentially you activate a contract. It kind of seems like the keywords contract is activated. I'm just assuming just because it's a kind of yellow indicator, and you see these ones are a little bit faded out, but pretty much what they're saying is that you select a contract, you select keyword, and then you go through these tiers, I think, like 2 out of 5. Every hero seems to have different amounts of tiers by the looks of it. So like Shimmy is 1 out of 2, Claw is 1 out of 3, Belica is 1 out of 2, Mocha is 3 out of 5. So I think this just means that kind of like League of Legends. When you guys think of League of Legends, every champion has a different cost of blue engines to unlock. So like Teemo, for example, costs like nothing to unlock, but something like Jinx or like what the newest heroes will cost a ton, thousands of blue incense to unlock. So I think this is what the kind of tiers mean in my head, is that like if you see something with lower amounts of tiers or only 2 tiers, that means that the hero can unlock faster. But you have something that with 5 tiers, that's something that takes much longer to unlock. So this is kind of a good natural way to kind of push new players to prioritize contracts that takes less time to do. So like looking like Shimby's an easier character to go through. Faith, Gadget, Drongo, 0 out of 1. That seems like pretty fast to unlock. Clyde, something a little bit longer. She's a little bit more complex character, so she get 3 tiers. Kiwa is like 5 tiers. She's something that takes a long time. But I don't necessarily think it's necessarily tied to how hard the character is, because like Mortgage is tend to be like an easier character, but she's like 5 tiers to unlock, right? So I don't know what's the parameters of how they decide which characters get what amount of tiers to go through. It just means that it probably just means how new the hero is. Moga is technically a newer character, so maybe she's higher on the tier list. So I don't know. Like, this is just me kind of speculating at the end of the day. But either way, this is kind of like how a free-to-play will unlock new characters. You activate a contract, you go through it, you unlock it, boom. And like I said, we got that confirmation by Wabi when he leaked that while ago on the podcast that the way you unlock heroes and predators is much like how contracts work in Valorant. But other than that, other info you can gain is like, for those who do not see it already, this is actually a menu that's taken with the controller, because like you see like PlayStation triangle right there. And you see, I think this is not like a this is like a concept mock-up, right? Like this is the that's the Xbox right there, but there's a triangle for PlayStation, right? So it's not like totally like a PlayStation, but you see what I mean? Like you have these controls on screen right here, and the reason why I bring that up is the whole reason why they're trying to do this UI thing in the first place is to make it very friendly for console players, or rather meet the requirements for Microsoft and Sony to put this on their stores, because they have kind of requirements they have to like meet to be able to put their product on the store. And one of those is to have a interface that works totally fine with controller, and you see right here that it seems like it's very smooth working with the controller. Like going through these HUDs, probably very quick to go through. You can just swap around really fast. Other than that, there's nothing too new. I mean, like you see, like you can see right here, that's kind of it's level 280, so you kind of see your level right there. Seems like you're gonna have some kind of cool visual profile thing for depending on what level you are, because League of Legends does the same thing. With depending on high level you are, you get more and more fancy borders. But yeah, item store, profile, watch, nothing too new. Profile is gonna be pretty interesting to see because we have a profile tab on the old UI or the current UI, but there's nothing much there. So this might be a profile of you just being able to have a ton of really cool visual stuff. But yeah, so very excited stuff. I'm very kind of excited to see this new UI. I'm very happy with the direction it's going. And once again, this is not the final part. Things are still subject to change, but this is kind of a very cool mock-up that they finally decided they want to tease to us right there. Indeed, console win. So it's I don't they haven't really like so here's the thing, like they've been so Wabi did said in the podcast that console is coming this year. So we know that, but we still do not have a official release date, right? And so this is just them talking a little bit about like, hey, we can't confirm the date for consoles, but we have recently hit a couple of crucial milestones. And so like one of the requirements besides the UI is community charter. And I actually didn't know that a community charter was required for console release because essentially, for those who don't know, the community charter is essentially just kind of like guidelines, expectations for like creating a healthy, less toxic kind of online kind of environment. So this is kind of like the official one. Well, they're saying we respect teamwork, passion, strains, we respect cooperation. Like you hear this, like it's pretty much a guideline that they have to kind of put out, say like, hey, you play this our product, but we expect you to be good people, essentially, right? And I mean, this is a pretty cool read. There's some really kind of cool stuff. You see some love put into it. I just think some of the stuff like right here is very cute on how they're doing this. So I think this is just a really kind of cool quick read if you guys want to go into it. But yeah, it's very cool that they get to show that off. They did that a while ago, but I'm just want to show that off to you guys. Along with that, they had to do branding key art assets required for PlayStation, and essentially they actually begin submitting game builds, because before you can put the product on their stores, you need to send a game build to them, make sure it actually runs good, right? So very cool science stuff. Console is coming, guys, so you just have to hang on there a little bit longer. It is coming this year, Wabi said himself, and we're just getting closer and closer to that 100%. Toxicity, kind of like nothing too new. For those who do not know, they recently implemented a AI system that can automatically mute or even suspend people if someone's being a little bit too toxic in the chat. And the big thing takeaway is that they said that they confirmed that they identified 0 incorrect chat suspensions. That means that there's no crazy UI going around, crazy AI going around banning people left and right for no reason, right? So at least in terms of bans and suspensions, there hasn't been incorrect AI bans that's been assigned. There has been some mute temporary, like mute is just temporary, like you get muted to the map, but it doesn't affect you game to game, right? There has been some of that where there's been false positives for that, but that's to be expected for the new AI system. They have to learn, have to kind of identify some of the stuff. And I don't know if you guys know this, but some people has been getting very creative in the chat and trying to be toxic towards other people. It's still not cool to be toxic. I'm not saying. I think the kind of charm of MOBAs is the toxicity. Like it's a double-edged sword. Like it's bad, but sometimes toxicity can be entertaining to see. Of course, if it's too toxic, you just mute the person, move on, right? But like with the AI system that specifically like will automatically mute people if they're being too toxic, some people find workarounds, find different words to use to be toxic. And so that's kind of like the part of the AI is that like some people are getting creative on trying to insult people without getting flagged. And so like part of the AI is they have to eventually learn that. And when they see that, they can still like mute or like whatever, like ban that person, right? But yeah, very, very cool stuff right there. The other kind of cool little thing right here is the whole like trim blast, because I don't know if you guys know this, but like this whole like concept of trim blast is actually a direct inspiration for Call of Duty Black Ops. And this is very cool because Call of Duty Black Ops is actually one of those games I loved playing when I was growing up. Like, I love the Call of Duty zombies. I played 1, 2, and 3. So just very, very kind of cool. They took some inspiration from that. But also, so the another kind of funny little thing is that whenever you render in the Unreal Engine, it doesn't always come out cleanly, and you guys can see right here, you get some very kind of cursed stuff, right? And I can definitely vouch for myself too, because at a time I was kind of messing around with Unreal Engine 5 myself. I was able to actually import Unreal Engine 4 assets, the Paragon assets, like Aurora counters, kind of like all that into the Unreal Engine 5, because I was just kind of curious. I want to play around, mess around with it, and I remember distinctly when I was playing around with Aurora 5 on the Unreal Engine 5, and I think I clicked one of the different animations or different idle poses, and as soon as I click that, I get this monstrosity, to say the least. So I totally get what they mean. It's like you click one button, everything goes wrong. So it's not as easy as people say. Like, it's not a plugin and oh, you gotta kill two model and Predecessor, yippee, right? No, you drag them, you click one thing, and things go wrong, right? It's not. It takes a lot of time to actually correct the models when it comes to weak skins. It's not like a simple plug-in and play. There's a lot of stuff you have to clean up, because if you don't clean up, you get these cursed images, to say the least. So I think it's just kind of funny they included that right there on the blog post, but. Other than that, they did like a quick interview with Acquazzone. Sorry, I mispronounced your name, but essentially he's like a principal data analysis at MMR Studio. So very similar to like JoeYoursTruly, because JoeYoursTruly kind of did the whole blog post about this data analysis stuff, matchmaking. So similarly, Acquazzone is kind of in that department, and it's kind of really relevant to some of the MMR changes. So I kind of let you guys give this a kind of quick read on your own. There's just some kind of cool answers. I won't go too deep into it, but I just kind of like the last question. Well, she was asking, some people think data might not be the most interesting part of the game design process, and then he's like, I'm confused. Is data not interesting to everyone? And so like I kind of like that answer a lot, because I did graduate from college with a bachelor's in chemistry, and chemistry is all about that nitty-gritty data stuff. So I'm definitely a nerd. I definitely love looking at data and kind of taking it apart, right? And so like so for some people outside of that, I can probably look at data. Oh, I'm not a math guy. I'm more like a business guy, right? But I'm a data person, right? So I totally understand his like answer, and thought it just kind of like really cool right there. So community roundup is a very cool section I'm actually a big fan of, because it's where they get to highlight different community members. So like, for example, some people made some cool artwork. So Mad Cat made a pretty cool keyword one right here, and then this one's a duo of keyword and counters, because a while back they did like a whole community event with keyword versus counters, so it's kind of a cool reference to that. And it's Mr. Bane's artwork right there. And then there's also some in-game screenshots I was taken, because I don't know if you guys see, but in the Discord, there's a screenshots channel. Well, you get to see some really cool screenshots put in there from time to time in-game. And so one of these is from Acquazzone, and he has some very amazing. These are just a partial of what he made in the screenshots kind of thing, and this is what I actually use in my knowledge kind of thumbnail. So big shout out to him. He made some really amazing screenshots, along with Shift AC. Shift AC also made some amazing screenshots as well. So both Shift AC and Acquazzone make some amazing screenshots in game. So shout out to them. There's just some really cool stuff you can kind of get from just in game that you guys can see. Other than that, they also kind of give a shout out to the podcast, which I thought it was really cool, because recently on the podcast we've been able to get a lot of devs on, and some of the best episodes have always been with the developers that are very considerate and very nice to give time out of their day to come onto the show. And definitely this is what I mean, like some of the info that I was talking about, like the contract system, this came from when Wabi came onto the podcast. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. But this is where like Wabi came onto the show and like give like some really kind of leaks and really cool. This is a really awesome conversation to have the champ right there. We have an amazing conversation with Demande, and then we have an amazing one the other day with JoeYoursTruly. So just some really kind of cool episodes. So I just want to give a big shout out to Wabi, Demande, JoeYoursTruly, and all the other previous Omega devs for coming on the show, because it's just some really awesome community engagement that the community can come in, ask questions, and just really see devs just show their passion for the game. I just amazing stuff right there. And community roundup is there is a PCC event. So for those who do not know, PCC is the Prime Circuit Championship. That's essentially like one of the probably biggest community esports events for Predecessor. For those who wants to see the competitive scene, see like some of the most competitive, highly skilled players go duke it out, and like this competitive kind of environment, PCC is the place to be. And so like the big thing about this PCC that's coming in August is we have a prize pool of $3,500. So this is no like small change. Now we get into the bigger kind of leagues in terms of like very kind of cool prize pools, and this is all of course donated by people in the community. So like this is just had to give a huge shout out to just the community, because PCC wouldn't be a thing without the community supporting it. Like do not just giving like donations, but also just like participating and watching the show. So definitely just keep an eye out on the August 12th. That's when we're gonna be able to broadcast the first like seeding round. So the seeding round is gonna be who we're gonna decide who's gonna be like the 8 people that's gonna be in the official tournament that's gonna be later in the month. And for those who do not know, I'm actually a desk analysis for the show, and what that means is that essentially I'm the guy that like analyze the game before and after it happens. So I'll analyze the draft going into the game, kind of like who has a better team comp, and then after the game I'll talk about like what went good, what went wrong, how was that game was decided essentially. So definitely I have a ton of fun when I did this before, and I'm very excited to go jump on again for this PCC. But yeah, that's about it for this whole blog post. And this video ended up being a little bit longer than I thought it would be. I think I just got really caught up in some of the really exciting info. Like Lizard, I end up doing a lot more digging around and like predictions of what he's gonna be. Just some very, very cool stuff with Zarus, to say the least. So I really hope you guys are excited as me, because these are just teasers, these are just surface level stuff, but there's a lot of implications if you do a little digging and research, that I think this is gonna be a very, very cool hero that I can't wait to see. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion update video. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see me keep putting this out. I'll definitely be, whenever I am able, and there's a lot of great info, that's something I want to try to keep doing, because I think you guys enjoy hearing my inputs and kind of like just getting this news out to you guys in general. But anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend ahead of you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.